Trigger on!
Welcome, dear all, to the Duckface Diaries. We are a World Trigger read-through podcast aiming to discuss the World Trigger manga, volume by volume. Volume. Oh, what the fuck was that? We are a World Trigger read-through podcast aiming to discuss...
Shit!
Volume by volume. I'm Wensleydale Cheddar.
And I'm Hovin with an H, and this month we're tackling volume 19, which covers chapters 61 to... Wow, not that early. 161 to 169, and is adapted across episodes
Nice.
1 to 4 of season 3 of the anime.
Oh my god, we got to season 3 already.
Yeah.
Amazing. We are the Dreamers, so is the Trigger. That's not the opening for the season. What am I talking about?
No, it's it's that one.
It is changes the new world. That's how it goes, right?
Right, sure.
How have you been doing?
Been doing alright. Yeah, progressing nicely through Dragon Quest and Yu Yu Hakusho. Not sure which I'm going to finish first, because I get through Hakusho more slowly, but more consistently, but Dragon Quest, whenever I play a lot of it, so that'll be interesting. How have you been?
I can actually follow up on your thread with some gaming news. I too am a huge Mother 3 fan. First time playing Mother 3.
Yes, no, we both got started on that, didn't we?
It's been quite a fun experience, but especially with how chaotic the pacing is regarding which protagonist you play as.
The introduction of the game is very different to Earthbound. You don't just get going with Lucas like you did with Ness. I'm very excited to keep playing because I've watched Chugga Conroy's Let's Play of it twice, but I think both times were about 10 years ago. So there are large chunks of the game I remember quite clearly, and there are others that I don't. And it's going to be interesting to rediscover.
And of course, we're playing that alongside Spain Asher, so shout out. I forgot actually, what did we name Lucas?
We named Lucas Edam.
Oh yeah, because we named all the family after cheeses.
Yes.
Okay. It's funny now. In retrospect, I think we should have named him Koarai, because once I've been reading this volume, oh yeah, they look basically the same, right?
It's funny, Koarai and Okudara are appearance-wise like Lucas and Klaus, but switched personality-wise.
Oh. I thought Okudara kind of looks more like Ness, I suppose.
Yeah, actually, the hair colour matches up more with Ness.
We named Ness Loch, and for a moment there, I was like, wait, which was the canon name? All right, since we're talking about the volume, we should probably discuss it. So today we're talking about volume 19, story and art done as usual by Daisuke Ashihara, translated of course by Toshikazu Aizawa, and first time Caleb Cook. Touch-up and lettering done by the great A-Score Chrisman. Design by Julian J.R. Robinson, and edited by Ray First. So we're going to first do a bit of a volume summary, then move on to our general thoughts. Sadly, we'll go into it later, but sadly, fond farewell to Ashihara Comments Corner. Do you have any notes for a spoiler corner?
I think I could save spoilery stuff for when it occurs in a later volume, so yeah, I'll just refer back to this one. So
all right, so we making revolutionary things, and we're probably moving on straight onto the Q&A after the general thoughts. So if you're ready to go, then let's start.
Let's do it.
So last we left off our adventure, I still don't know if this is the phrase. Osama Seymour was waiting at Tamakoma Base for the senior members returning from a scouting mission. Yuri the operator and Cronin the engineer. So Composed Beefcake seems especially uncomposed by the thought of Yuri visiting, as he urges the newbies to be on the best behavior, even adjusting Chica's color. So it turns out that the big goober has a big old crush on her. His face seems to turn especially demonic when the resident 5-year-old Yotaro suggests that she and Chika are part of his harem. Meanwhile, the resident Canadian neighbor, Cronin, meets his fake nephew, Hughes, as he decides on their backstory. Usami sets up the stakes for the next match. The fighting Kageura, Azuma, and Susanari want squads, and they have to have at least 5 more points to have a chance at second place. You need to earn at least one more point than Kagura. Cronin takes cues to figure out his trigger set. Specifically, he wants to have Kagetsu as his blade, Viper as his projectile trigger, and surprisingly, Escudo, the materialized immobile shield trigger. Cronin mentions it's kind of outdated, so it consumes a lot of Tryon, which is why people often forego it, but Hughes simply mentions it's something that Tamakoma needs. Chika, Yuri, and Beefcake help Osama move in, so since Tamakoma Base is closer to HQ than his house, it's more practical for him to live there. When Osama examines the door to his new room, he discovers the nameplate of the previous occupants, Kido, Border's current commander-in-chief. Osama discovers a group photo of old Border at Tamakoma Base. There are some familiar faces. There's Tiny Konami, there's Rindo, there's Beefcake blushing at Yuri, there's Jin. When he shows the photo to Yuri, she points out Kido as well, a smiling, jovial man whose face is full of hope, so different from the scarred grouch he is today. Yuri reveals that this building used to be Border HQ before the organization was revealed to the public. Kido, Shinoda, and a man called Kiriyama all moved to HQ when it was built. One girl called Mato left Border altogether, while the other 10 unfamiliar faces all kicked the bucket in a big battle 5 years ago, some turning into black triggers. Yuri explains that Tamakoma's emblem was originally the old Border emblem and that it represented a boundary between Earth and the 3 allied nations in the neighborhood. The purpose of Old Border was to connect the world with the neighbors, like those bridges Osamu likes so much. But Kido betrayed that, adopting a nationalist stance of all neighbors being enemies, because fear-mongering allows for easy recruitment drive. Yuri's like, but still, we should work with fascists, otherwise we won't be able to defend ourselves. We should, blame ourselves for not creating a perfect solution for us, and neighbors coexisting. Yay for guilt and self-loathing. But Konami appears, and she's embarrassed to see her old photo where she's clinging to Rindo's leg. Well, Hughes seems to have lost most of the practice rounds against Yuma. He struggles a bit with Viper control since it's difficult to use, but Cronin says he'll get better at it thanks to his horns. Yuma and Chika head to some joint training and some solo rank wars. The former has evening plans to go to Kagura's house for a sleepover. What am I talking about? It's not actually a sleepover here. He just goes to his restaurant for a dinner. The snipers do a radar training exercise, and Izuho does quite well. Oki appears and is a bit of a creep to Chika, but Yuzuru comes to her rescue and calls human resources because she works at Activision Blizzard. Kage texts Emma to come over to his place, and Toma comes with. The girls stay behind to train some more, while Akane just says, "Kitty!" At the Kage family restaurant, Kage says that why he likes fighting with Yuma so much, it's because he doesn't read any killing intent before his attacks, which makes it more thrilling for him. Then he just reveals out of the blue that Emma has a crush on Chika, to which Yuma has the best response. "Ah, good eye. She's a nice and determined lady." When throwing the match comes into question, Yuma says Yuzuru doesn't need to do that. Chika's place is guaranteed on the ship no matter whether Osama and Yuma come or not. Yuzuru is still hesitating though. Wouldn't Chika feel better with her team on board? Well, a random stranger with red hair, who totally isn't just Arafune, with his hat off, and I didn't realize. Anyway, the stranger with the red hair has a solution. He just came by the restaurant and just has a solution. There we go. So Emma can just join the away team solo so he can support Chika. As Emma thinks about that, Yuma says it doesn't really matter to Tamakoma, because no matter what he chooses, Yuma says they're going to win. So Emma walks in with a mischievous grin. No, sorry. Emma walks away, determined.
Emma walks off with a determined scoff.
Exactly. The conversation turns to discussing another certain someone who holds back in battles, Chika herself. The number one sniper Toma, who has been observing her both during rank wars and training, posits that Chika can definitely shoot people, just doesn't want to. Some people just aren't fighters and take the operator or engineer route, and that's okay. But Chika, she ain't like that. She's a fighter. and when cornered, she will come through. Essentially, Toma's like, Chika can shoot, change my mind! The conversation trails off as the titular operator of the second opening of a world trigger, Hikari Nire, arrives to cheer up some gloomy lads. So the evening comes to a close as Yuma decides on relaying this back to Osamu. Four Eyes seems to be hesitant with regard to pressing Chika, and instead is worried about the upcoming opponent's growth and possible counters to the wire strategy. So the next morning, Usami dissuades Osama from shaking things up with a new trigger, as he doesn't have the triumph for it, with a nice little visual metaphor of chipping away at dough, just like equipped triggers do with Tryon. Everyone assures Osami that with Hughes, they'll have more than a chance, but something is still eating at him inside. But with Jin's advice not to waver, he gets ready for the battle about to come. The commentary team assembles, led this time by the mysterious Katagiri squad operator, Yuitsuka, who has to patiently endure Inukai joking about her hitting on middle school students, and Arashiyama laughing nervously as he recalls himself hitting on middle school students. So, lovely bunch. I just realized that I wrote Arashiyama as Ashihara again.
God damn it. Rest in peace to the Arashiyama comments corner as well.
So all the squads are in the strategy rooms and react to Hugh's sudden addition to the Tamakoma. Nevertheless, everyone seems ready to face them, especially Suzunari 1, who boasts a yet unrevealed special formation. As the underdogs in this match, they pick the map, Cityscape D, a vertical map full of buildings, tall buildings and broad streets centered around a giant shopping mall. Usami draws attention to the fact that snipers like Chika might have a hard time being useful on this map since all the battles takes place inside. Hughes challenges Osamu to decide on something, and he goes, Osamu, we're running short in time. If you're a commander, then command! Skitty, 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 skitty! So Osamu decides to forego the wire strategy for this map, as a defensive play could be easily countered on this map, especially since everyone knows Mikumo's squad needs to earn points. Hughes is decided as the secret weapon this round. Still only known as a Kagetsu user, his Viper could be the surprise that turns the tide against Kageura's squad. While Chika opts to stay outside to provide blast support, over at the B rank number 2 squad, Yuzuru decides to go in and forego sniping to find gunner style. All squads make their plans for the match. Azuma wants to measure how the younglings have grown, while Kuruma counts on Taichi to ensure the new strategy's success. Finally, it's time to begin the transmission. The nighttime mall battle begins.
The teams arrive, with Tamakoma 2 split up from each other, as the commentators speculate Suzunari 1's approach. Arashiyama suspects the use of nighttime is meant to preoccupy operators by making them have to adjust their agent's view with the lighting constantly. At Osamu's call, Chika moves outside while Hughes and Yuma move to meet each other in the mall or from the floor and roof respectively. Kageura Spider-Mans over to the big building as Zoe engages Ko from one of its upper floors. The action continues to move into the mall as Taichi attempts to stealth past Korai on one of the lower floors. Okudera, meanwhile, is following Azuma's guidance of distracting the operators by deactivating and reactivating Bagworm at various intervals. Midway up the mall, Kage and Zoe engage in a firefight with Ko and Kuruma from across the atrium. Osamu runs into Okudera lower down, and the Azuma squad attacker engages him. The rest of Azuma squad start to close in on this skirmish. In commenting on the new strategy Suzunari 1 have, Inukai calls attentions to Ko's new Black Kagetsu. Ko and Kageura seem easily matched, with Kage's DPS up against Ko's solid defense. This leads the deciding factor to their respective support, which seems to be going in Kitazoe's favour, until Kuruma whips out a second gun, abandoning his shield. While Ko provides an ideal protection for them, the two advance upon the enemy slowly and steadily, and the commentators remark on their newfound strength in mid-range. Ashihara, you'd better make another briefing file stat. Kageura calls for a retreat. Meanwhile, Osamu flees Okudera, filling his path with spider wires, but is cut off by Korai, who he slams into the rails of the atrium with his thruster.
I will note, I never realized that atrium could be used for something else than like an ancient Roman villa.
Oh, I mean, it's used for like a section of the human heart as well.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. However, Ima cuts off his next path in an attempt to snipe both him and Korai at the same time, leading to him to slam the blonde attacker over the railing mid-dodge, in an attempt to deprive Kageura's squad of points. Just as a firefight breaks out, Taichi causes a power outage on the lower floors, and Ima takes advantage of all the chaos to shoot off Osamu's arms. He later on crawls away from the fray. In a brief flashback, we learn that the switchbox fiddling was Taichi's plan from the start, right down to the very selection of the map. And not a moment too soon, as the tables have turned for Ko and Kuruma upstairs. The fight moves into a cramped kitchen, giving Kageura's unpredictable strikes an advantage. The black Kagetsu further camouflages Ko for a minute, and the fight becomes more even yet again. But then Taichi flips the lights back on, momentarily blinding Kage. Yuzuru attempts to shoot at the switchbox, but is blocked by an escudo.
Wait, is it switchbox as in the trigger switchbox, or like a regular switchbox?
Regular switchbox. I know my wording has made this very confusing. The power room. Let's call it that. I'm just thinking in terms of an actual fuse box.
Okay.
Realizing that the solution was tougher than expected, Kizazoe makes the judgment call of shooting the lights above to remove the changing power status from the battle equation. However, Taichi gets wind of pursuers and tries to make a run for it, only to be cut off by Hughes' escudo. He and Yuma have met and are ready to begin their counterattack.
Oh my god, with the switchbox, our Taichi's special tactics, they're gonna skyrocket.
General thoughts?
Alright, let's move on to general thoughts.
I think the most important takeaway of this volume is this made me crave okonomiyaki. Let me have Japanese bubble and squeak, please. I've spent all of Wensleydale's part of the recap just googling okonomiyaki places in my city. Because it sounds nice. It sounds like the kind of thing I'd like. This is a very oddly paced volume. It's like it's one of the more like downtime heavy, I want to say. There's a lot of time spent with just kind of the squads getting to grips with things and strategizing. I'd say this, even once it gets to the fight, where it does pick up quite a bit, there is a lot of focus on what the operators say, even more so than usual. But I do really like a lot of the how the fight works. I think this is one of the few instances where the operators are an active part in one of the team's strategies, and that's quite neat.
Yeah, I thought it was not a great volume structure-wise, but I really like this as a set of chapters. Like, the reveals in this are like half of what we've been alluding thus far in Spoiler Corner, and yeah, it's been a while since we had some proper focus on the differences between the border factions. So I thought it was well done. I think that this is around the point when we switch off to a monthly release rather than weekly of chapters.
Yes.
And I didn't think it was a bad way to go. As you did, I like that by necessity this match has a strong focus on Isami because of the lights. I wish that there was kind of more of it, and like more of her truly becoming like part of Tamakoma 2 now that Yuri has come back as the operator for Tamakoma 1, which I still assume that is the case.
No, it's interesting you mentioned the monthly release, because yeah, this is the volume where the massive hiatus happens slap bang in the middle of it, and I think the chapter comeback was the one of the like pre-battle strategy ones. It might have been the one right before the start of the match. It's a pretty seamless transition. You don't really notice any difference.
I kind of noticed, to be honest, but because this is where I kind of thought the thing that they are doing right now, like discussing all the different possibilities that could happen during this battle. This is kind of what people, the audience, has been complaining about sometimes, that Ashihara does tend to like discuss all the possibilities before they appear in a match. I guess it seemed more pronounced here. Like if you understand that yeah, this is the comeback for Ashihara. This is like where he has to remind himself of his writing and how he writes battles and so on, it's kind of understandable how like this lead into to the battle is perhaps maybe a bit longer than all the other ones had.
Yeah, it is strange. It's like there's a long lead into the battle, and this is only the penultimate battle before within Tamakoma's time limit. So it does feel a bit strange that there's so much set up for it, but some of it's spent on decent stuff. I like, yeah, like I said, I like the Okonomiyaki scene. I really like the scene where Shiori outlined kind of a metaphor for how Trion works and why adding loads more triggers for Osami wouldn't be very useful, and using like the little dough cutouts to do it.
Why didn't Usami get the cover over Murakami?
Yeah.
I think that this would have been a good volume for us, since like she's prominent in many different ways. Yeah, there's a lot of thought put into Osami's strategy this volume, and like using only squads that Tamakoma had already fought. This match was a great choice to show how much he's grown. Since like he's able to make up for the tactics for the map just before the transfer, basically on the fly. He's able to consider his opponent's growth and even give up the wire strategy, which made him prominent for a different approach.
Yeah, he also heeds Hughes's wish and leaves a lot of his tactics factoring in the newcomer's discretion. So, you decide when you get your first surprise takedown. I just advise that you do it carefully, basically.
Yeah, and especially with the wire thing, he manages, with both actually, he manages to forego his ego and his personal growth to find an effective counter for the match. This is where I kind of think that those little silly mistakes that Osama has been making as a novice before, they have the same kind of underdog quality that his general weakness offered, and like this match and how he approaches it emphasize how much he's grown strong. To be honest, I didn't really pay attention to that all that much, but he's grown in combat too. Like it seems like he's grown more accustomed to using Spider on the fly to hinder attackers.
Yeah. A lot of the maneuvers here were very impressive, to be honest. Like the ways he was using thruster.
When it comes to like Okudera chasing him on the stairs and him just boom, there's a wire, this slows you down. He also became like agile enough to survive a pincer of 2 attackers and 1 sniper, which is like damn.
On the note of the picture of the illumination of Kido's past, we see one guy in the picture who, in the anime, looks a lot like they could be Kazuma's dad. It's one of the ones who's dead, but he has like the spiky hair and the red eyes, so that makes me think that maybe that was the intention of just like a little background detail. It's, oh, Kazuma's dad died in the war.
I think that there was Kazuma's brother, because like we had a scene with Kazuma earlier on when he compared himself to Miwa. He doesn't feel any need for revenge for what happened to his brother during the war. He only wants to do his duty. During the time, I think it was after the top 3 squads all fought Jin.
Right, yeah, which I guess would make sense if it was like, rather than die in an attack, like his brother died in a war to help other neighbors. So that would inform his personality in a slightly different way to how the attack informed Miwa's. Yeah. Kiriyama is probably the one named character in Kido's picture who's still active in Border that we've not seen yet. I'm wondering if perhaps, just a hypothetical, we might get his introduction if Kido's backstory ever becomes the focus again. Maybe he could be there as kind of a character to relay, like, oh yeah, so it went like this, X, Y, and Z. This is how it went.
Oh, wait, you don't want Randall's movie idea to come to fruition. Yeah, I was wondering about Kiriyama as well, so I can cross that note out. I do love, like, coming back to the match. I do love the energy of the commentary team, getting like more and more interested at what exactly Taichi is up to. This kind of wacky reveal, this kind of wacky mystery being slowly revealed over the course of the time.
Yeah, it's like initially you're thinking like, oh, okay, he's just trying to avoid them and regroup with the others, but then no, that's not it at all.
Usami being surprised at Okudera just appearing beside Osama was adorable. I forgot to mention it before when we were talking about Usami.
So I think the lights off, the switch, the power, the turning the power off maneuver would have been a really cool thing to end like an episode or a volume, and in both cases it's not quite there. Like for the volume, it's just a little extra chapter, and then in the anime, I think it stops just slightly before it happens. One of the episodes. So it's like, could have been a great cliffhanger, but it wasn't meant to be, except in weekly chapter form.
Yeah, I can see that. It's the first time we're seeing someone from Katagiri Squad, apart from the one early appearance of Katagiri, in which he looked completely different. The virgin Katagiri, not the Chad Katagiri. Yuitsuka also apparently used to be on Azuma Squad. I do wonder how many students Azuma had, and if she was on the same squad with Miwa, Ninamiya, and Kako, or if that was a different one, and Azuma had many squads before.
I can't wait for World Trigger. Why didn't I suggest this for the movie idea for World Trigger Film A, where it's set several years in the future, where Azuma has joined the Neighbors and joined his own rival faction, and all of his students have to come and fight him one last time. And it's film set, but for World Trigger.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I thought that the operator for old Azuma Squad was Tsukimi from Miwa Squad, but people in the comments correct me afterwards. It's also a nice excuse for like not seeing those squads before, Kusakabe and Katagiri squads, because Yuri mentions that they were with them during the scouting mission. At first, I was not sure if she was scouting them as potential new members of Tamakoma branch, but yeah, I think they were just away in other prefectures together.
Yeah. I remember the first few times I went through this, there was a bit of confusion over the comment from, the point tally discussion, where they said, over the next two matches, we need to get 5 points more than Kageura Squad, where it's like, wait, what? No, you just need to have more points than them. And I think it's just occurred to me, what they meant is they need to gain 5 more points than Kageura Squad gains, is what is meant there.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
The wording does throw you off.
Yeah, that does make more sense, definitely. I can't read Yotaro saying she's going to be my wife without hearing Borat's voice. I was wondering which of the people on the picture, coming back to that, is Soichi Megami, Jin's master. And I feel silly for checking it on the wiki. Of course he's the fair-haired one with the sunglasses because Jin inherited his sunglasses.
Yeah, it's like inheriting the straw hat. And then at the end of the story, Jin, who does Jin give his sunglasses to at the end of the story?
Mogami comes back to life.
I'll be taking those. Thank you. Snatches them away.
I was searching for Yugo as well, but I don't think he's there.
No.
He wasn't on the picture, at least. Yuma being happy at having a neighbor friend was very cute. I like that moment.
Mikado First High School. Okay, I don't know much about how Japanese cities usually name schools, but this just seems to reflect how incredibly regimented this city is. Everything is named after a number or a ranking. I found that quite amusing.
I don't think so, because we have numbered schools as well. I feel like it's a normal thing.
Really? I mean, I guess I don't know. So this is a thing in Poland then, because I'm not talking primary school and secondary school, because that's just in that just describes the level of education, in terms of how what age bracket. Whereas this it seems to be implying the actual prestige of the school, like how it performs.
No, it's normal, but I don't think it even has to be like the prestige of the school. It's just categorizations. For example, like I went to a primary school number 32. Then I went to another school which was number 6. Then I went to another school which was number 1 because it was in the countryside and there was only one school.
All right.
And then I went to a high school to a high school which was also number 6. So it came back to that basically.
Maybe London's or England's the weird one for having all the high schools named after like people's names or famous places or something.
We also have that. We just have the number before that. So it was like the school number 6 in the name of Stanisław Staszic or Adam Mickiewicz or whatever. I don't know much about other countries, to be honest.
There was one called the Dragon School, which I was always like, damn. They got a heck of a name, the Dragon School.
Amazing. I do like Taichi's morbid plan of poisoning the other operators.
And the fact that the operator doesn't, like, oppose it too strongly on moral grounds, she's just like, that might not work.
It might not be the most practical thing, but yeah, he also has some practical ideas. I mean, he came up with Escudo, just like Hughes did.
On, like, a serious note, one thing I liked is that with the arc that Yuzuru is going through, we kind of see how Chika and him are similar, in that they're the kind of person who will sacrifice their own well-being and standing for the sake of others, in how he is tempted to just throw the match and his own standing within border in order to get her to make sure that she can go on the trip.
Yeah, and also him, like, opting to, like, get inside them all rather than snipe safety from outside. Speaking of snipers, Akane is very funny this volume. The way she jumps at Oki to be like, "Oh, what about me? Am I a little sister material?
Pick me!
Sure. Yay!"
One we don't stan is Hikari, this volume, because he was body shaming Kitazoe. We don't like that. No, thank you.
Everybody just fucking body shames Kitazoe at this point.
Inukai,
yeah. He also does it during the commentary.
Yeah, I mean, in the I don't know, in the anime delivery, like, it didn't seem as bad. It felt more, like, neutrally descriptive, like, he is a big target, which is true. Like, that's not really making a judgment on his size. That's just kind of commenting on what disadvantages he would have.
Although, like, given the fact that people are known to, like, modify the trine body appearances, good on Kitazoe for being proud about his body.
Yeah,
nice.
I also just really like that he is a very disarmingly smart character, because he has such a goofy disposition and just seems to kind of bounce through everything, but he's really good at making judgment calls in battle, like with the lights.
Like Zoe reaching out from the panel with his boot as he shoots at Ko down below. It's an incredibly dynamic shot, and the perspective is just lovely, especially since like he's aiming up as he shoots down. Well, this is very nice.
Clearly OG is having a negative influence on Hikari with her nickname, calling the body shamer Pokari instead.
Oh, I think we talked about it on the WMR server a while ago. Like, Pokari is...
It's a type of drink, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think... I don't know, we may have talked about it on the podcast, but I think in some contexts, can be pronounced as P. I think it's like an allophonic difference or something like that. The her sounds are written in hiragana exactly the same as P sounds, but the P sounds have... I mean, the P syllables have a little circle on the right, I think. This is just something that I vaguely remember, and I'm terribly sorry for my ignorance.
Yeah, so I've also got a few notes on the anime version of this. It's not like the most... compared to the fight that follows and some from the last season, it's not the most Sakuga-filled, but that kind of makes sense with the stop-starty nature of the fights. I can see why this is one that they might not want to put all of their resources into it. A few details I like are, like, there's this fuzzy perspective shot of Yuri as she's running past Reiji to kind of emphasize his crush. I just thought that was very cute. It's a very cute scene in general for him. It's also just really funny that she has such an Ara voice due to being at the ripe old age of 24.
Oh my god. We are ancient.
I mean, you laugh at that. I'm more laughing at this manga's perspective of age, or manga in general's perspective of age. But yeah, I guess I'm more optimistic on that front. So the night vision looks really, really cool. I think they've given these glowing green eyes. I'd love to see some more of it. Although I don't think there are any other opportunities in the story, so I guess if we get an away mission season in 10 years and they use the night vision there, we can get that.
And in these episodes, there might not be many Sakuga moments, but when it goes to the match exactly like the second and third season of the World Trigger anime, it looks really good during the night.
One thing that we need to find a gif of is Kuga eating the onomiyaki. Like it's a very cute gif. I think that's definitely birthday tweet material.
Which, by the way, check out Duckface Diaries. Every time a character has a birthday, HOVIN'S sets up a tweet for it, and they are very nice.
Yes. I keep going at it until I run out of images and GIFs to use that are any good. And I guess on a more negative note, I'm a bit disappointed that the anime didn't smooth over the transition between Kuruma abandoning his shield and pulling out the gun. Much like in the manga, the shield is just suddenly gone and the gun materializes, and I think you could have done a cool little maneuver with that, maybe.
That's a shame. When it comes to Toma's monologue on how Chika's a fighter and she definitely has the capability to shoot people, I think it's one of the best speeches in the manga, and it was very nice to recap that. I found another case of anime McDonald's. So Emma has a Dell laptop, D for Delta, E for Echo, N for November, L for Lima. So I just got why Yuma and Hughes had a black uniform as C ranks. It's probably because they were recruited through Tamakoma, and that's why they had the old emblem. So maybe the black uniform was like an older recruitment uniform for C ranks. As you said before, I do love Kageura's use of Mantis for Spider-Manning across the buildings.
It's really cool.
One thing I think was a missed opportunity. I forgot all about the black Kagetsu. I can't believe that they didn't make it lead Kagetsu or something like that, but because we know how lead bullets affect triggers. Yeah, I was expecting for there to be something more special about it, but yeah, it's just a color to help with the dark vision, and that makes sense. All right, I think that's all my notes.
All right, shall we move to the Q&A section?
Just a quick note on the Ashihara Comments Corner. There's no special intro for that, no intro music. So this is the point where we got the return of the series from the hiatus and the chapter in the vaults from the new release. So there will be no Ashihara Comments Corner for now. We're going to forgo the author notes and volume extras for now, since I've kind of noticed that the podcasts are getting long enough, once we catch up with the manga material, I think we are going to cover the author notes in a bonus episode. So this will probably be released on Patreon once we get to that. I'm planning to actually make some bonus episodes, and it's been a long time coming since that. Especially so one idea I had was covering the one shots, Trigger Keeper, Room 303, I believe that was it, and Talented Elite Jin. I really wanted to do that, and maybe. And I'm saying it may be a special episode on Superdog, Rill, and Thor. I would definitely like to cover that one way or another. Patreon.com/Wensleydale, Cheddar. These things are not there yet. There might be in the future. I'll probably release those on the $6 tier. For now, the Ashikara Comments Corner is gone. Rest in peace. I did make some notes about the stuff at the start of the volume that are available in the previews. I do like how Ashihara's cat... we mentioned that before. Ashihara's cat imitates all the poses of the characters on the cover, but this one's contrast is really special because Ko is doing like a winter is coming pose with his kogetsu, while the cat is just supporting himself on a cane. So this is something that may have been a mistake. The position category shows Kitora as the attacker, even though she's an all-rounder, which is kind of fair because like everyone in A rank is apparently an all-rounder. Kuruma squad is officially the most sweaty squad because Kuruma has not one but 2 sweat drops in his character panel, and even Ko has a few. And yeah, that's all of it. That's all of the Ashihara Comments Corner. Right now, let's move to the Q&A.
All right. So we have one from Arcus Rhapsody. on the World Trigger Discord, or is it? No, it's on the WMR Discord, isn't it?
Yeah, it's on the WMR Discord. I did like how you keep calling him Arcus Rhapsody, even though it's not in his name anymore.
He asks, what do you think of the squad dynamic after Hughes joined?
So it was surprisingly difficult for me to answer that. I think the dynamic comes through the strongest with Hughes's comedic, down-to-earth moments, such as like him learning how to ride a bike later or breaking the microwave. Arguably, it's honestly funnier when he interacts with the rest of Tamakoma and not just Osama's squad. So as for dramatic stuff, I think he definitely has shaking things up in small ways that I've only noticed after the fact, like challenging Osama and Chika to move out of the comfort zone.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what struck me the most, because when she appeared on the podcast, some listeners might remember that Kendra had a bit of a gripe with how Tamakoma don't really talk to each other. And I guess he kind of, about problems, and he's kind of a social lubricant in that way. Actually, my spoiler comment for this whole volume was going to be that the idea of cornering Chika that Toma raises, it actually is something that is not paid off in battle, but in conversation with Hughes, when he really presses her on her ability to shoot people.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to see some more of him in fights with them, for sure, but yeah, I think he's definitely shaken up the team dynamic in an interesting way.
Yeah, and I do definitely agree with the problem of Tamakoma not really talking that much apart from discussing strategy, and I think some stuff in the coming volumes is definitely gonna be an improvement on that front. So yeah, good stuff there. All right, yeah, ready to round off?
Let's do it.
So, that is going to do it for the 19th episode of Duckface Diaries. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcast. Just search for Duckface Diaries and we'll be there. Links to all the platforms are at patreon.com/Wensleydale. Everything is in the pinned post. That's also what helps me pay the bills, so if you want me to devote more time to making the show better, consider supporting me there. In return, you can get your name in the YouTube credits or a World Trigger Duckface avatar. Plus, you can help me reach more ambitious goals like reviving World Trigger Bridged. Remember that much like the neighborhood, the YouTube algorithm is a dark abyss of sorrows and woes from which channels like these never surface, and what helps us navigate it is liking, subscribing, and sharing the podcast with a friend. On the YouTube channel and the same RSS feed, you get access to not only Duckface Diaries, but Manga Mosaic, a collection of podcasts and video essays on other manga titles, short and long alike. On the same channel, you can find the introductory episode of Pokemon Adventures, our new retrospective where we cover the Pokemon special manga arc by arc. And I finally got the volumes that I ordered like a few months ago, and I'm so happy. Finally, I can get to making the notes for it. Hovin, where can people find you?
You can find me on HOVIN with an H on YouTube, where we have our sister show, HOVIN'S HIDEAWAY, where we talk about all sorts of topics, mainly anime and manga related. And yeah, you can find me on Twitter at HOVIN with an H. Alrighty
then, and once again, you can find all the links to that in the description or in the pin post at patreon.com/Wensleydale. Send us emails, questions, comments, suggestions at wensleydale012@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at Duckface Diaries or individual Twitters at Cheddar and at HOVIN with an H. And we're always happy to receive your questions. A sincere thank you to Milo Jack Stillitz, who composed our ending theme and orchestral rendition of Giri Giri, the first opening sequence for World Trigger. You can find his work at soundcloud.com/Milo Jack Stillitz. What are we covering next time?
Next time, we'll be looking at Volume 20, which covers chapters 170 to 178. And in the anime, that is the rest of Season 3, Episode 4, to the start of Episode 8.
I'm very much looking forward to covering that, especially with the guests that we're planning to have on. You know what else I'm looking forward to?
What's that?
Playing Mother 3. Seriously, can you find some time to play Mother 3 tonight? Please, I beg of you. I need this. I just need this. Please, let me voice Kumatora as Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho. Please, I need this.
Okay. I'll see what I can do.
This was the 19th episode of Duckface Diaries, and as always, it's time to bugger off.